Tuxie! Hey there, buddy! Good morning! Yes, nighttime. Yes, yes. So you said you figured out why the bolt rolled on me at the end of the bolt.
Right,
Marianne drives the bolt video. Tell us what you came up with.
Well, Professor Kelly at, what's that place in Idaho? He took apart a Chevy Bolt, and there's a parking pawl. Just like an automatic transmission, GM chose to put a parking pawl in the gearbox that Chevy Bolt uses, and so that little bit of rolling that the Bolt did was just like a regular automatic transmission. Sometimes where the parking pawl hits isn't exactly on a tooth, it's not detinted yet, and so it has to engage that tooth, and that little roll is that tooth, the detent engaging the parking pawl. So that's what that was.
You said Tesla uses what instead?
Well, Tesla uses a servo motor on a brake caliper. On the Model S, it's actually a separate brake caliper, an emergency brake caliper. On the Model 3, it does similar, but it's not a separate caliper, but it's an electric parking brake.
Some might thought that it felt different. It really
did feel different,
yeah.
And that was what was going on there.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine once you are used to that's what this car does. Right. I just wasn't expecting it to move so much.
Well, the Bolt has a second park button. It has a park button on the gear shift, which is your traditional automatic transmission type parking. You know, when you drive your normal gasoline car with an automatic transmission, you put it in park, but you don't necessarily push on the emergency brake. At least the mechanical emergency or the handbrake. You just put it in park and you get off and leave. That's what the little button on the gear shift does. But beside the gear shift, where typically you would have a handbrake lever or something, GM has placed another, it has a P, and that's the parking brake. And when you do that, I guess, I don't exactly know, I didn't pay that much attention, but I suspect it probably uses the anti-lock brakes mechanism to engage and put, let's call it the emergency brake on. It may be also mechanical. I don't know. I don't want to mislead anybody, but there is a two-step. The Tesla's the same way. If you hold the park button down,
you push in on the end of the gear selector stalk.
And then what it does, when you normally park the car, just the normal get in and out of the car, it just tightens a little bit. But if you hold the button on the Tesla, it increases the torque to these little servo motors, and it really squeezes that caliper. So if you were on a really steep hill, it really squeezes it.
Yeah, it's not a separate parking brake, but it applies more pressure.
It applies more pressure.
I was looking at the weather in the 10-day, and we're going to have really nice weather, really in the whole 10-day. A little warming toward the end of next week, like into the lower 80s. But not higher, not upper 80s, not 90s or anything. Today, however, we do have clouds, and we heard 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible. I don't think we've had any wind that high, but certainly some 15 to 20 out here. And Don and I have got on, not jackets, but long sleeve shirts, because it's, you know, it's cloudy and it's a bit breezy today. So I'm doing my thing where I'm moving Ruby out of the garage just so we can walk freely. Gives me a chance to go grab my Pokemon. Don's gonna get started. I won't be gone too long. I'm here at the environmental park. There are about 10 cars total here today. Pretty popular spot, even despite the clouds and the wind. We just had a pretty good gust. I won't be setting up the camera on the Hawks today. That heavy lens, it's just not a good idea. But I will be setting it up again, and they're going to be here for, God, probably another 6 weeks at least, feeding the young. They stay in the nest for a long time, so we've got lots more opportunities. Don's trimming that holly tree limb for me, just the limb, so that I don't have to work so hard when I'm trying to set up the tripod. And then there was a couple of limbs coming over the driveway UPS truck, etc., that we're going to need to go sooner than later, so it looks like he took down a couple of those also. Thank you, Donnie. I'm going to get out and walk over there, and of course I'm on an incline, so I put on the extra parking brake here by pushing in on the end of the gear selector stalk and holding until it engaged. You'll hear it. Yeah, Don confirmed what I was thinking, and he got rid of one or two more limbs than I asked to make sure we had good clearance coming around the corner here for the UPS guy. And I just saw the hawk go into the nest up there, so I would say they're doing good today. That's always a relief. The winds haven't been too high, a predator hasn't messed with a nest, nobody's fallen out, you know, all the things that can go wrong in nature, but thankfully haven't. That limb wasn't going to cause any problems this year, but 2-3 years probably would have been in the way of the UPS truck. That's Slate, and I just got Gray out. Gray, from under the house. She snuck in there on Donnie. I am blowing the driveway with the Ego blower. 3 reasons. 1, I like to make sure there's nothing that could trip Don up on the unicycle. 2, get some exercise because I did the cul-de-sac. I walked all the way out there. And 3, you know, there was a lot of stuff on the driveway after Don took down the tree limbs. Of course, with the wind today, it'll be full of junk again, but it's clean for now. My boy's a mess. He came out of the woods with about 30 of these little green things all stuck in his fur. These seeds are very smart about how they get themselves transferred around, and I had to clean them off. It happens every spring. I can't tell if it's a tick until I, you know, get those off of him. Don's working on the stairs, and there's some math and some special cuts. I'm letting him focus. I am going to move the brick platform from here over underneath the bird feeder there. It needs to be out of our way, and I still want to use it, and that seems like a good spot to me. In the summertime it was a little too close to the house because of insects, so it's better I move it farther away anyway. I got them moved, and putting a few inches of pipe in the holes on the end, since these aren't really paver bricks, helps keep them in place. I thought Don just go get the hacksaw and cut me a piece. Oh no, we have to get a special pipe cutter. Huh?
A tubing cutter.
A tubing cutter. Of course you had a tool for that. I'm feeling useful. Don went and got me a big piece of pipe. Let me use this, I don't know, is that a hacksaw? This power tool, Ryobi power tool. I've got pipe in 2 holes of each brick on all surfaces. Well, maybe I've missed one up there. Anyway, it should hold together pretty good now. Plus, so we were going to put bungee cords. The strap, I made it a little bigger. The strap we had on it before is probably not large enough now. Alright, I think that's good enough. If Don wants to tweak on it, that'll be alright, but I think it's good enough. I don't know how long it's going to stay there permanent until we're done with the project. I'm not sure. The purpose is just to keep the cats off the wet grass and not to have mud develop underneath where they're eating. So it certainly serves that purpose. And you know, hey, the bricks are free, leftover from building the garage foundation. Well, I wasn't really worried, but it's also a relief that they have no issues about moving a few feet over there. So is the hardest part of this project the planning and the math?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, making the cut, a straight cut with the saw, is, I could do that if you gave me instruction.
Right, well, I had to I had to do some thinking because this tread, the risers is 6 3/4, except for the first one.
Right.
Only 5 3/4. And they did that, I guess, to allow you to put a 1-inch thick 5/4, whatever you want to call it, underneath it. Anyway, I did some things, and plus it's not straight across there. There's the frame around the door sticks out 1 inch, but underneath the door the siding is like I said, the frame sticks out 1 inch, so that means you have to cut the edges of the board so that they fit inside the frame. So that's 34 inches, it's a 36-inch door, but down there that's 34 inches, the frame. So anyway, it just took some layout work, and I had some of this 5/4 left over, and I cut it pieces. And
so you could visualize it.
Visualize it, that's right. So I could really, before I screw up, because this thing's with tax, $25 a piece.
Right,
So,
I realize you would prefer not to mess it up.
yeah, I don't want to mess it up.
I'm practicing piano. I just learned how to play Happy Birthday. And apparently Tux likes being serenaded. What a sweet boy. Well, it's blown up a little bit of a storm on us. But we've got light, and as long as it doesn't get too gusty, we've got cover, and we're still doing a bit. Oh, there's a package, some sort of a package today, huh?
Yeah. One's for me, and one's for me.
Oh,
We got bills.
statements.
Right, that too.
Well, it's going on 6 o'clock, and we're calling it quits for tonight. Basically, because Don was at a good stopping point. He's got the 3 stair hangers hung. Let me try that one more time. He has the 3 stair hangers cut for the steps that will go into the house.
Right. Plus, I've instead of being 10 inches, they're going to be 12-inch treads. A couple other little modifications that I had to play with, like building blocks. I had pieces of wood that are the correct dimensions, and I put them how I think I'm going to want them. I think I'm going to dress them up just a little bit.
Cool.
We'll see. Tomorrow you'll see.
I like the sound of that. Johnny asked for homemade fried rice. I was out of the frozen peas and carrots, but I was able to use some broccoli, so I think he'll be pleased. I think the guys are going to be happy with me. It's a Terrace Major cut steak tonight.